We can't answer.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. Yeah.
You know, one day people are going to be like, why did you guys give us more heads up for some of these shows? And we're just going to be like, look, sometimes we're not 100% sure. Mike, you are the talent on this one. The host is going to be down here.
You're going to be doing this whole
talent show. Are going to be up there. Okay? So, Herb and Rodg Podcast, Big Mike, star of the show. This is how you know Mike is family. No intro anymore. Mike just comes on with the rest of us. That's how much we think.
I'm just here.
So even Kat said, "What's up?
What up, Kat?
JT in the house." I was just texting JT right before we
special guest JT in the building. We appreciate you for joining us.
Yep, he's a Miami guy with you. Well,
yeah.
I mean, heck, that's a good one to. We're gonna do a Super Bowl preview, but these guys were teasing me before we got on the air, so I know they wanted to talk a little Miami before you got here. So JT, that was and we sent out that his comments today. Nobody commented when I put it in the group text, so that's fine. I just cried.
Okay, so before we go, since Chris is here, or since JT's here, I've got to put so he knows who I am down Chris. Here. I got to make sure. I got to make sure that the real name's up here.
And Shane, shots fired.
Shane. Oh, wow, really, Shane?
Thanks, Shane.
So you know what, guys? What I don't like, I've been accused of being unprofessional on the air by certain people, which I don't really.
What do you mean, Herb?
What's up, Lady Alpha? Nothing. But I'm going to give you guys a second to go ahead and talk about the Miami Dolphins, starting with Hill. We'll start with you, Mike. What did you think about the comments when Hill basically walked it back and said I was just frustrated?
I mean, it's one of those things people talk about all the time. Don't make comments like that in the heat of the moment at the end of the season because there is a lot of emotions going on, and I can understand the frustration. This was expected to be a lot better season than it turned out to be. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, did he go too far by saying he wanted to be out? Probably. But we all say shit we don't, or stuff, sorry. We all say stuff we wish we could take back. Obviously, I just did. So, I don't blame him for so much. As long as he stays and he's happy, that's really all that matters.
Yeah. And that's one reason why, I would be that person to not say anything after games because I would blame everybody. I'm a poor loser. So after a game Herb went wrong, coaches sucked, the guys that hit shots, the water boy gave us terrible. It would be terrible. So, Rod, what do you say? You on the same lines? Welcome back, open arms.
Same lines. When the comments were initially made after that game that we lost, I knew it just sounded like he was weeks and weeks of frustration built up. So I'm in a weird way. I'm kind of glad that he got it out and he said it. It was exactly how he felt at the time. We all understood it. It was a frustration. A lot of people did question, was he really being honest? Blah, blah, blah. I feel like to a certain extent, he was being honest. And he was at that time, he was thinking about going elsewhere if the opportunity presented itself. But I am glad that he came out today and said, my bad. I didn't mean all that. I like it here. I want to stay. This kind of opens up the eyes for, the draft coming up in a few months and what type of positions we need to assess. If Tyreek is going to be here, which obviously he's going to be here, then we have Waddle. Our wide receiver rooms should be pretty solid. We got Jonnu Smith as our tight end. Running back room is okay. Let me give a shout out to Jonnu Smith. Herb had Jonnu Smith on his fantasy football winning team. He had a monster season. I think Jonnu Smith actually made the Pro Bowl too. Running back room is tight, A-Chain and Mostert. So offensively, we're looking solid. Obviously, the key piece.
Raj.
Yes, and it's funny that JT brings this up. When Myles Garrett announced he wanted out of Cleveland, I said, "Man, Miami needs to jump on this. We need to figure this out. We need another linebacker out there." Chop Robinson had a pretty good rookie season, but Myles Garrett would be huge. He's still in his prime. That's exactly what we need on the defense right now. I don't know if Miami can make it work. Miami's a huge destination, nice city to be in. And I even did the comparison. I said, hey, when LeBron left Cleveland, where did he go? And he did talk to LeBron about leaving. He did. Myles Garrett did talk to LeBron.
He actually did.
Yeah. So I would love for we have the draft capital. I think we have right now we have the 13th pick in the first round. If we kept that pick, I even made my comment. I wouldn't mind us going after offensive tackle. I think there's a big guy we got a couple guys from Bama, of course, Booker and stuff. But I think the number one ranked highest offensive tackle right now is the guy from Texas. I believe it's Kelvin Banks. I think he's like the number one ranked highest offensive tackle. I have to double check Mel Kiper and all the other draft class. But anyway, I'm rumbling on. Back to the initial question. I'm glad Tyreek came out today and said what he said. It lets me sit a little easier, so I'm good with it. Now let's just see what the future holds for Miami.
Well, real quick, I did have to acknowledge. Thank you, Recap, for protecting me from anybody who says I'm not professional. And JT told me I need to come on, man. Let us know when.
Come on, bro.
Just send us a message. You're always welcome. So, Mike, what realistically with what they're talking about with Myles Garrett, what do the Dolphins have to do to get to the Super Bowl next year besides buying tickets? And is there a realistic?
We're not doing that.
I'm talking to Mike. I'm asking Mike a question.
Man.
I mean,
do you see a
to
path
me,
to it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes into what, obviously we could use some shoring up on the D-line. Myles Garrett would be amazing, obviously. It'd be a huge step in the right direction. It would definitely solidify the defense. I mean, the secondary is decent, not great. To me, it's been the same issue that it's been the past couple of years, though. We need more on the offensive line. We need better out of offensive line with the way Tua gets hurt, the way you've got to protect him more. It doesn't matter anything else you're looking at. If you can't protect your number one asset on the offensive side, then you're not doing it right. So I would love to see him go after maybe a tackle in the draft, maybe see if they can sign somebody if they don't get Myles Garrett, because I think the defense would be okay if not adding a huge piece, getting a couple little pieces here and there. But to me, the offensive line has got to start there. You got to protect Tua. You got to keep him healthy. You got to let him be comfortable back there so he can get back into his rhythm like he had 2 years ago before he got hurt. Because last year, it's just something was off. Even when he was in the game, something was off last year. Yeah. That's the whole point of Tyreek's frustration is even when Tua was there, something wasn't right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was running scared or if he was afraid or what, but you got to get that fixed. And I think the offensive line helps that and makes him a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and it feels like when Tua came back from his injury, the deep ball just was no longer there. I mean, prior to the injury, the deep ball was our number one asset on offense and our number one threat on offense. But when he came back, it just seemed to check down everything, to short the intermediate pass. And I think that's where Tyreek's frustration, to Mike's point, I think that's where Tyreek's frustration started to come into play. He wasn't getting those deep balls that he's used to getting. And of course, obviously, when Tua got hurt, Tyler Huntley wasn't really doing much justice at all. And that goes to one of my points too. Do we need an offensive tackle? Yeah, we can really, really build up and beef up that offensive line. One thing that we do need to seek in this draft, and Herb and I have discussed this, is a backup quarterback. And we don't need a backup quarterback that's going to come in and start games. No. We just need a backup quarterback that can win us those 1 to 2 games that we should be winning if Tua is hurt. One of the games, for example, this season was Tua was hurt and Tyler Huntley started, and we lost to Indianapolis. Indianapolis' offense was horrible, defense was horrible. We should have won that game even with our backup quarterback, but we lost that game. So we need a guy to come in to stay healthy, say, hey, Tua's going to be out 2-3 games, whatever the case may be, just to kind of get us over the hump. And, of course, with me be saying this, I don't want Tua to get hurt. I want him to stay healthy all season. And with that being said, obviously beefing up the offensive line will help. I wouldn't mind getting some help in the secondary. I know we still got Jalen Ramsey, but I think he's starting to get a little – he's not – I don't think he's as sharp as he used to be. So a younger secondary would help. And again, if we could get Myles Garrett or another really, really tough linebacker, I think that would definitely really help Miami out next year.
I think that young secondary started to do a little bit more towards the end of the season, though. Especially, I can't remember the kid's name off the top of my head, but the kid we got from South Carolina in the draft last year.
Shoot.
I think he really started to step up, and I think he's going to be okay. So I think the secondary would be okay. I wouldn't mind having some depth, especially with Ramsey there. He's had some injuries in the past and things like that. But speaking to the backup quarterback, that's a great point. I didn't make that, but I like Herb's point that he made last night on the T3 show about Jameis Winston.
Yeah. That's fine.
He could come in and get a couple games. He's definitely good for a game or two if you need him. Or even somebody going back to Bama. I wouldn't mind a Mac Jones. He's accurate enough that he could throw the ball and get it to where it needs to be. That deep ball may not be there as much, but at least he could get the ball where it needed to be. I
mean, you saw Jameis Winston hook up with Jerry Jeudy all year. It made Jerry Jeudy's season look really, really good with Jameis. That's all you need is a guy back there to just kind of distribute the ball. If the deep ball is there, let's go ahead and do it. But just somebody that's, hey, I can win 2 or 3 games if Tua is not here. That's
and Jameis is good in small doses. That's the thing with Jameis.
Exactly.
And Cats and y'all are the Saints. They need everything. So and a new GM. So we feel bad for Cat with the Saints. Yeah. So. All right, so definitely had to let you guys get a little Dolphins talk in there, but the big game is the big game. So first, obvious question: any surprises with the 2 teams that made it versus who you guys may have picked at the beginning of the season and the beginning of the playoffs?
Go ahead, Herb. Rodg. Go ahead.
Oh, he called me Herb. Oh gosh.
So you feel better now, Herb? It went the other way.
Yes. Do you know how many shows I have been on where I have been called Raj?
So let this go to show on the record that it's not me trying to dig either one of them. I just
Mike said my bad. It's all good.
And this, by the way, real quick on this one, and I think that and combined with as many injuries as he had, I think both of those together for sure. But definitely the traumatic, the brain injury. That's why we were so kind of surprised he came back when he did this last one. So it's a very good point.
Yeah. So initially, I think at the beginning of the season or midway through the season, I thought I picked Detroit because of the way their offense was playing. I want to say Buffalo or Detroit and Baltimore, one of those. So to answer your question, is it a surprise? I'm not surprised to see Kansas City here because it's Kansas City. And I didn't know if Philadelphia – I'm a little more surprised to see Philadelphia because they got banged up throughout the season, and I just didn't know if they were going to make it. But with it being said, with the game coming on Sunday, I think this is going to be an awesome matchup. I mean, they just played each other in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, three-point win by Kansas City. I think there's a lot to look forward to, and I think initially it's going to come down to Kansas City's defense against Philadelphia's offensive line and their running game. I think that's really what it's going to come down to. The rest is going to play out, but if Saquon can kind of get going, and listen, Saquon's been averaging like 147 rushing yards throughout the playoffs. Is he going to run for 140 yards this Sunday? I don't think so, but I think I'm lingering around a little over 100 for him if the offensive line can block well enough, if they can get some holes. And
that's going to be questions, by the way. Saquon over rushing yards. So you're saying Saquon does get over 100, just nothing crazy?
Yeah, I think over 100, but like 140, I think that's going to be a bit much. But I would say a little over 100.
Mm-hmm. Mike, any surprises with you or where you thought this was going as far as the season goes? And I know when I say that surprises, I realize everybody's like, well, Kansas City's not really a shock. But I know I was with Raj. I picked Baltimore for most of the season. And then I was like, all right, I think Buffalo can get them. So I don't even know if I was picking the other teams or just picking against Kansas City, but I just thought it would be tough to get the third time in a row. Yeah. Where were your thoughts at?
Kind of the same. I mean, like we talked about, three-peat's hard in any situation, and getting there all 3 times is hard. So I think I was kind of with you guys with Baltimore, especially after that week 1 loss that they barely lost with the likely toe, if his foot's an inch shorter. They win, having that game be so close. I figured it was a toss-up throughout the season. And then with Derrick Henry coming on for Baltimore as much as he did, I thought maybe they would be able to come through. But I guess Lamar had a Lamar moment in the playoffs again, and it just didn't happen. So that was kind of surprising. The Eagles, kind of the same thing Rod said. I won't repeat everything, but I agree with Raj that with the stuff, especially the big piece that they lost on the line, to be able to plug and play there.
Yeah.
You lose your all-time center protection for Jalen and everything like that. And a little surprising there. I thought there's a few other teams that may step up, especially with people like the Commanders stepping up and things like that through the season, being a lot better than we thought they were. I definitely think they're a little bit more of a surprise, but kind of the same thing. I think we all picked against the Chiefs just because we didn't think they could do it again.
Yeah. And that was my biggest thing. I was like, 3-peats are tough. And then like to this point, beginning of the season, did not look good. Honestly, for most of the season, I mean, they needed a last second drive against the Panthers to escape.
They really didn't blow a lot of teams out throughout the regular season. I mean, they were just scraping by and clawing and scraping by the entire regular season. So it's a
they kind of did that last year too, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, thinking back to last year, they kind of scraped through a lot during the middle of the season.
Was even worse, I think, last year. But the record was much more. I think that the thing about this year was the record was so good. Yeah. You're like, they look bad and they're scraping by, but they've only lost. Let's be honest, they only lost one game. They sat everybody for the second game they lost. So
that was the Denver game when they got but everybody sat that game. So yeah.
And that's a good one. Are they going to have a flu game? Yeah, it's been going in. I don't think you'll ever know the true depth of it because nobody wants to tell you. But there's always reports are going to be out. But my answer is I have no idea. But it's definitely going through the team. And then you got to say, what's up to Heather?
Hey, Heather, how you doing?
Appreciate what's going on, Heather?
And Heather is not really going for the Eagles. I think she's going against Kansas City, too. Yeah. So I think that's it. Because I believe I saw something where she said she would not mind if the meteor struck the game. So she's on that.
Heather, you need to let us know where's Myles Garrett going to be at next season. We want him in Miami.
She does probably not ready to talk about that.
Listen.
She's probably not ready to talk.
Heather's grown. It's time to talk. Come on now. Where's Myles Garrett going to be at next season, Heather?
Yeah. And by the way, just as an aside, Kat, I mean, I don't mind the Eagles because of, with Jalen and Devontae, but absolutely, I was rooting for the Lions. If the Lions had played the Eagles, I would have been rooting for the Lions. I'll say that. And it sucks to have your season go up in flames like that, as a number one seed battling through that division. So, and let's be honest, this is why most of us are doing
this.
Go ahead,
Mike. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, with all of us being Bama fans, I mean, obviously, if the Eagles win it, we're technically going to claim another national championship.
Yep.
Yes.
Since they're winning, I mean,
18
it's going to be number 19 or 18 and a half, 19, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, my coworker asked me today who I was going for, and I was like, I really don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm going to go for Philly. And she's like, why? I was like, because, they got a bunch of Bama guys on the team. So that's just honest truth. So,
yeah. No, I'm with you. Absolutely. So, somebody say, yep, absolutely, Mike, for sure. All right, so let's get into a little Rod. We'll start with you. What does Philly have to do to be successful in this game?
They have to block for Saquon. Again, this matchup is going to come down to their offensive line against Kansas City's front four, but they have to be able to create some holes for Saquon. And when I say some holes, I remember his first rushing touchdown last week or 2 weeks ago when he played Washington. And that hole, Herb and I even talked about, the hole opened up. At first, I thought he was just going to get the first down, but that hole was gigantic. I don't think he's going to see any of those type of holes on Sunday. But if he could get some spaces and get some rushing yards and help out that Philly offense, I think they can win the game. And then that obviously open up the run for the passing game as well. So if Saquon can get going, I think Philly can get the W.
Mm-hmm. On the flip side, Mike, what's the first key for Kansas City?
Well, it goes into a lot of what he just said. I mean, Saquon Barkley's been playing like he's 22 again. And then look, the Chiefs know that he's trouble as soon as he walks in the room. So what they need to do is stop him and make sure Jalen Jalen Hurts throw the ball into the blank space of the field. And if he can't do that, he's going to say, look what you made me do. And then there's going to be a love story between the Chiefs and the third championship.
What's wrong,
Raj, if I had said all that, you'd be sitting back there and upset and can't believe it. But you're just going to let Mike slide with all that?
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Mike said.
Did I say anything wrong?
No, it was beautiful. It was actually beautiful. I can't wait till we cut that up and have that as hot playing. So, and it's funny. I didn't even know if people have even noticed. Because I don't know how many people kind of look at the thumbnails and stuff like that. But this was the proposed thumbnail.
Oh my gosh! Oh, here we go
for the game, right?
Right.
But here's the thumbnail that we're using.
Did it really?
Yeah, that's the thumbnail that we're using.
I apologize. I haven't had a chance to look at the thumbnail. I'm glad you went with that one because it's funny.
Shout out to Taylor Swift. And was it Kylie Kelsey? Is that her first name?
Kylie Kelsey, yeah. She's Jason Kelsey. We'll do it that so more people know who she is.
Kylie is.
I hope her middle name's not like Kim or something like that because that would be very tragic. Rob was trying to figure out what I'm talking about. He's like, what does he mean? Kelsey Kim, or was it Kylie Kim Kelsey would be a terrible, terrible nickname.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, if you break it down. So
well, since Kelsey's her maiden name, she would get to choose her middle name at that point. So I figure you would rectify that at that point.
What if she wanted her middle name to be Kylie? Kylie Kelsey.
Same problem.
Same problem. You haven't solved anything. As usual, though. I'm used to that.
I don't care about solving stuff.
Raj, who is a surprise player to look for in this game? Who's one of the guys we're not talking about?
Either team, I would probably go with. Does Xavier Worthy count as a surprise player? Okay.
We'll say anybody maybe is outside the quarter. Oh, why is that yours, Mike?
I've said it all week.
Yeah, he did. He mentioned it earlier, but out of all the people, because I have different people for MVP in this position, but for surprise player, I would have to go with Xavier Worthy. I do think he's going to get some touches on the ball. I think Mahomes' his line will block long enough for him to get some nice passes out, and he's got the speed too. Keep in mind he's extremely fast, so I think Xavier Worthy is going to be a guy to look out for this Sunday.
Yep. Mike Tinker, on Cinco, I said he's going to catch and run for a TD in this game. So I'm with you. So now that Raj is taking yours, who's your second pick? Or are you just going to?
So, no, I'm good. I've got to back up because I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've listened to a lot of experts, and I heard one guy on both Tuesday and Thursday say that Dallas Goedert would be a really big part of the Philadelphia Eagles game plan because obviously. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who he is. He sounded really smart, so I figured I would go with him.
I don't know the guy's name, but I know who you're. I listen to him every once in a while too. Really annoying guy, but
I don't know that you listen to him ever, but that's another story.
That's probably part of it. Yeah. Well, anybody wearing glasses, I listen to because they figure you.
I mean, obviously they're smart.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, with everybody focusing on the wide receivers for there, and obviously, like I said, you're going to have to focus on Saquon as well in the backfield too. You're going to have a passing game and picking and choosing between the three, between Devontae, AJ, and Goddard. I think he's going to get the least amount of attention. So I think Goddard on the Philly side, since he went with somebody from Kansas City, I think would be the best choice to be the surprise breakout there.
Agreed. And him and Jalen Hurts have a really, really good connection, so I can see that happening.
They do.
Yeah. All right, Mike, give me if Kansas City wins, who's the MVP? If Philadelphia wins, who's the MVP?
Mahomes and Barkley. I mean, whichever one has the better game is going to have the team that wins, so they're going to be the MVP. It's hard to go against either one of them with the way they've played.
And that was another reason why I kind of chose the people I chose, because I feel like those are like the likely choices. It's Raj, do you have any different as far as that go, or who would be your secondary choice on each?
Yeah, I didn't want to pick the likely choices as Herb labeled them. So let's go with Kelsey and Smitty. I like Kelsey and Smitty.
Yeah. Well, my thing about it, I think if Kansas City wins and Pat Mahomes sits out the entire game because of an ankle injury, they're still giving him the MVP. That's how I feel like. That's what I feel about Kansas City. They'll just be like, oh, yeah, great leadership from the sideline, And
at least they'll let him pick.
Yes. That's actually an excellent choice, Mike. I like that. And I feel like for Philly, I mean, their path to victory just starts and ends with Saquon, It was mentioned last night that you don't necessarily want Jalen Hurts throwing it all over the place.
No.
So, all right, how about some crazy, goofy stuff from this before we kind of wrap it up or whatever? Who's going to score the first touchdown in the game?
I'll say Saquon.
I'm going to go with. You know what? I'm going to take a surprise here.
Okay.
What about DeAndre Hopkins?
I forgot Hop was in there.
Yep. I'm going to go with D-Hop.
Honestly, I don't think anyone has mentioned him.
I know.
Like the entire week. So,
yep.
Okay.
I'm going to try DeAndre Hopkins.
That could be crazier or terrible.
Yeah.
Who throws the first interception or 0 interceptions?
Oh, shoot. I don't want to say his name. All right, if it's the first interception, I'm going to go with Jalen.
I'm going to say there probably isn't one. I think both quarterbacks will protect the ball. I think Hurts learns from the last time where he threw an interception late. I think he will protect the ball a little better. So I don't think there is an interception.
What about a fumble? Is this a turnover-free game, Mike?
No, I'm sure there's going to be a turnover of some kind, but I think both quarterbacks will protect the ball in the air. I could very easily see Jalen Hurts having to roll out at some point and coughing up a ball or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think he will be extra cautious knowing he's got Saquon in the back, so I don't think he goes out on a limb and throws it anywhere where he doesn't have to.
Okay. Saquon Barkley, 114 rushing yards, over or under?
See, that's kind of like around
114.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna say under.
Yeah, I'm gonna go slightly under too. I'll say like 107 to in between 105 and 110.
105, yeah, around that range. Yeah.
It's kind of scary that y'all are both on the same page, huh?
Well, we're Dolphins fans. Great minds think alike.
Then why are you Dolphins fans? Pat Mahomes.
I have so many other things I could be doing right now.
Shane, like what? You got a fan? Well, we've watched your video of what you do. That was number 5, though.
But it's number 1 in my heart.
You can't be that interested.
But in his defense, it's not Saturday yet, so
yeah. So tonight
it's still Friday night, so it doesn't apply for at least a couple more hours.
Yeah.
All right. Pat Mahomes, 254 passing yards, over or under?
I mean, I feel like since I think Xavier Worthy is going to be the surprise, I think I've got to go over on that one. Because he's not going to be the only one that catches the ball, but I think he's going to be the big surprise. So I'm going to say over.
Raj?
Over. I'm thinking.
Over.
Yeah, over.
Jalen Hurts' number is at 214.
What, passing yards?
Yep.
Over.
No, 214 rushing yards from Hurts.
Oh, my God.
If that happens, they win the game regardless.
After that, he just passes out. So
I go over.
Over on both?
Yeah.
I'm going under.
Under on Jalen Hurts passing yards?
Yeah, we've already said they're going to rely on Saquon a lot more. I don't think he throws for – he may be right at 200, but I don't think he goes much over that.
Mm-hmm. What receiver in the game has the most reception yards?
Smitty, my MVP.
Devonta?
Yeah. Like I said, A.J. Brown had the big game last game. He had four receptions, like 96, 97 yards. So I think it goes to Smitty this game. A.J. Brown will be involved, though, obviously. But I think Smitty will have the most receiving yards.
Yeah, I'm going to go Worthy. I've liked Worthy most of the season that I've seen. I haven't seen all Kansas City games, obviously. But he's had a decent year. I think he's gonna have a big impact.
I like it. I do have some fun questions, but the first question has to start with. We'll start with Mike. Mike, who wins and what's your score prediction?
I said it last night. I'm glad I get to go first, so I don't get blamed for following Rodg. It's 31-24, Kansas City Chiefs. So now, what's your score, Rodg?
Philly. I picked the same one I picked the other day with the squad. I'm gonna go Philly 30-24.
Yeah, I guess Mike did copy you. Mike copied you first. All right, so a couple fun questions that we're going to end on with you guys. Mike, since you picked Kansas City, if you sub out Pat Mahomes and you sub in Tua, what changes in this game? How does this game go, and how does that change your prediction?
Oh, hell.
Give me the play-by-play. How's it go?
Look, I've got the Dolphins hat on. I love Tua. I'm a Bama fan. I love Tua. He's not Patrick Mahomes. There's the intangible, the intangibles that Mahomes brings with the shiftiness and the rollouts and the making up stuff on the fly kind of thing. I don't see Tua that. Tua is more structured. Needs kind of that timing, structured offense that they're building in Miami. He's not an improviser. So I think it changes it a lot. I think Philly would win the game because they would just key on, especially not having a huge running game with Pacheco and all that. I think that Philly runs away with it, to be completely honest.
I think if Tua was the QB, I think Kelsey would have.
Raj, you have a different question.
Oh, sorry. I was just wanted to add in. My bad.
You said no. If Kelsey, what? That was actually.
If Tua was the play, I think Kelsey would have a monster game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Timing wise,
yeah. He won't go.
Yeah.
He won't
to
go
Mike's
deep.
point though, but Kelsey improvises too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. I think Tua would throw to where he thought Kelsey should be, and Kelsey's like,
dude,
I'm over here. It's one of those things. If it's coming in fresh, yes. If this is the only game that they've played together, yes. If they've played 5 years that Kelsey and Mahomes have played with each other, however many years, then at that point they know each other that well. Maybe it changes it a little bit and it builds it up. But Mahomes goes down and you bring Tua in, then no, they don't have that connection in that relationship.
Yeah.
So he switches. So Raj, you have the same question.
Yeah.
If Tua takes over for Jalen, which has happened before, how does that change the game script in your mind?
Changes just a little bit. I think they're still going to hand the ball off a lot to Saquon, but keep in mind Tua's going to have a really, really good offensive line to block for him. So I think he's still going to have enough time to throw the ball. But once that Kansas City defense breaks open and gets to him, that's where I would get extremely nervous. I'm like, I don't know what it's going to do, and I think it's going to cause a little more turnovers. So I think Jalen would be able to protect the ball a little more than Tua would, and you might see maybe some fumbles on Tua.
What do you guys do on the tush push with Tua in the game?
You don't put Tua in the game. You put in Kenny Pickett or the other guy,
or you let Saquon run it,
or let Saquon run. Yeah, they're not pushing that tush.
You get to a pillow on the sideline.
Wait, timeout. We are Dolphins fans roasting Tua.
I'm not roasting. I'm being honest. I mean, Tua's a great quarterback when he's healthy and has time, but he can't improvise as well. Nobody can improvise as well as Patrick Mahomes. I think if Tua goes on to the Eagles, I think they have a lot better chance of winning than if he goes on the Chiefs.
I agree with
because I think the pieces that the Eagles have makes itself more accessible to a normal back, drop back regular passer.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think you're dead on. All right, Mike, you want the Super Bowl edition? No, I'm sorry. We're starting with Raj. Raj, you get the Super Bowl edition first.
I hate this last question.
Yeah, you probably are.
Play, live, ditch?
Yes.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts.
He's got money.
A.J. Brown.
He's got money.
Pat Mahomes.
That's going to be true for all of these.
Travis Kelce.
I love how, before you answer, I'll give you time to think since I'll make a comment. Okay. I love how now every time he does you with a work, play, live, ditch, he pauses just to see if you just say, I'm going to ditch Herb first.
Yes.
He's got that natural pause every time now just to see if you're going to say
because I honestly thought that's what was coming. Oh, am I going first? Work, play, live, ditch? I thought that was the next. Like, that's almost what.
I could tell. I saw you back. I saw you even lean back a little bit going, okay, here it comes. And then you were a little disappointed when it didn't come.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things, death, taxes, and Raj ditching me. Like, those are the things that I count on in my life.
All right. I feel like it's easier to start off with ditch so I get out the way. I'm ditching Mahomes because he's married. He's got several kids, and his voice is annoying. I don't know how long I can be around him like that with that voice. Hey, Raj, come on, man. Let's just go throw the football. I don't know. I'm just going to go.
Did he suddenly become Kermit the Frog?
He kind of talks like him.
You guys?
I mean, I'm joking around. He seems like a cool guy, but I'm just out of all process of elimination, I'm just going to go ahead and ditch Mahomes. So who do I have? A.J. Brown, Kelsey, and Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with Kelsey. Taylor Swift, Kelsey, that would be a huge night on the town.
How many Taylor Swift songs would you sing?
I don't know any of the songs, but I know like words to like Bad Blood. Okay.
You are lying. I saw how many songs you mentioned last night.
Yeah, Google. I was Googling why you.
That's my excuse too. I had Google when I did the whole break.
Sure you did.
That's why I knew all that.
Whoever this Google person is, I don't believe you. All right, Ross, you're hanging out with Kelsey.
I'm working with Jalen Hurts. I like his work ethic. Ever since he's gotten to the NFL, he's just become a much, much better quarterback each year. Seems really, really serious, down to earth. And I guess if we ever go to like a work lunch or whatever, he'd be cool to hang around. So that leaves A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown will be my neighbor. I'll get to talk about why him and Jalen get into it every once in a while. Is it true? Try to get some advice and some comments out of him so I can use it on the show.
I don't know if that shade means he's going to hang out with all of them or ditch all of them.
But I don't know.
Oh, or maybe
I think he meant all of the Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah. Raj definitely knows.
Mahomes does walk like he has to use the bathroom all the time. It's a quick, like quirky walk.
Wow.
And you're going to see it. Watch.
You're going to regret working with Jalen because I guarantee you Jalen's like hey, it's 11:59. You ready to clock out? Lunch is at 12.
Yeah.
Hey, Raj.
I'd be like,
we're supposed to be clocking back in at 1.
Okay,
Raj, we're supposed to be clocking back in at 1.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's now 104. Yes. Why are you not back in?
Yeah, yes. No.
Rog, just admit it. It's okay to be a Swiftie.
I'm not a Swiftie, man.
And his wife is a beehiver or a hive.
My wife is the associate vice president of the Beehive. People don't know that those are the Beyonce fans. So
that's why you two have bad blood, huh?
What?
That's why you guys have bad blood, right? Rog, you're just an anti-hero in your own home place. That's
okay. I get it now. I get it.
But it's okay. Look, ahead, you can always sit down, shake it off, and then start out with a blank space. It's always perfect.
Rog, you don't want it to be a cruel summer. That's all I'm saying. You know. All right, Mike. You get the easy one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mike, would I lie to you?
I already know what it's going to be. Go ahead.
Look, what's your guesses?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm not guessing anything.
Well, clearly work, play, live, ditch. Herb. Rodg.
I knew that.
Sped.
Ooh.
And Kevin Owens.
Ooh, Kevin Owens. I wish Sped was watching.
I'm definitely signing him up for this thing.
So I'm going to work with Kevin Owens because that means I'm in the WWE. And then that would be a dream.
That's not even true.
Associated with
the
WWE.
Are going to be working a random job, and he's going to like.
Hey, you didn't put that on there. You just said I worked with Kevin Owens. You didn't say that.
Wow.
See, now you're adding in extra rules. We didn't go.
If you're working with Kevin Owens, would you wrestling with him like a tag team, or you're his manager, or just working within the organization?
I mean, you've seen this, right? I'm obviously a manager.
Hey. I thought you were a wrestler. I thought you were saying
No, I would love to be a manager. I mean, I'd love to get in there and talk and not have to get my butt kicked, because that seems like the best job in the world, I guess. The best of both worlds. But yeah, no, I'm definitely not stepping in the ring. I've seen and heard what they go through, and my body's not set up for that. I would. So that's who I'm working with.
We just want to know the one answer. That's all we really want to know.
I know.
We don't care.
But I'm gonna look. I do this podcast thing too. You got to build the suspense. I'm gonna live next to Herb. We don't live that far away. It's kind of like I live next to Herb now. I have random things show up in my mailbox already, so it's kind of like I live with Herb anyway.
And
so we're gonna continue that on. So that leaves
me or
Sped and who? So somebody I'm going out with, and somebody both of you have kids and are married.
Here we go.
I said you're both it's a draw.
There are no draws, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm going to ditch Sped, and I'm going to hang out with Rodg.
All right.
I've hung out with Rodg once at Herb's house watching the national championship game a couple years ago. It was a lot of fun. I think if we went out, we would have a lot of fun.
Yes, we would.
He would be enough to keep me in check.
Yeah, that particular game wasn't fun, but we had a good time.
We made it fun. That's part of the reason. Yeah. I've had that experience. We made it a lot of fun. So I think if we were out on the town, we could jump into karaoke, sing some Taylor Swift songs.
No.
And you said you were hanging out with Kelsey, and that's always been a dream of mine too. So that does fall into the consideration as well, because if I'm hanging out with you, I get to hang out with Kelsey and Taylor. So
I just tagged Spence.
There you go.
He's out there.
You just tagged him already?
Yes.
That's fine. Look, I love Sped, but I see Sped. I speak to Sped more than almost anybody else, just because we're going over show stuff and everything like that, and then we spend at least 2 hours talking wrestling every Thursday on our behind the scenes and on the main show.
Next time you try to get Mike and he doesn't answer, there's a reason why, buddy.
Which has never happened.
Sorry. Until now,
Mike always responds.
No, Mike is actually horrible at responding, which we all know.
Every time I text Mike, there's a point of the conversation he decides he's done with it. He's like, he doesn't even read some of it, because I'll be like, hey, I asked you this. He's like, did you really? I'm like, yeah, it's right there. He's like, oh.
That's only when you're asking me like 4 things in a row, and my brain is not big enough to comprehend all of them. Like I'll answer 3 of them, and then the other one will just kind of float through there through the ether of the brain. because it can't catch all 4 of them at once. And then you'll ask me like 2 hours later, and I'm like, oh crap, my bad.
That is true. I do start to stack stuff a lot. All right, guys. Any final thoughts about this game this Sunday?
One thing we didn't talk about that I'm looking forward to is the commercials and the movie previews. I think some of the movie previews already came out. I already saw the new Jurassic World one that looks okay. Saw the
another Jurassic World?
Jurassic World Dominion with Scarlett Johansson, yes.
Yeah, they're pretty much redoing all of it. They're actually going back. So if you haven't seen the spot yet, sorry, spoiler. But they have to go back to one of the original islands, so they're kind of taking it back with a new cast. I watched it not long before we actually came on live here because I didn't realize it had already come out, and it looked pretty good.
If you go on IMDb, they're all out there. The Fantastic Four preview came out, so we will finally see Galactus. Get a look at him.
And there was a teaser that came out a couple days ago for that too.
Yeah, so
I think we get the full 2 or 3 minute trailer.
And every time I watch the Super Bowl, I'm always wondering and hoping that maybe we get the Budweiser "What's up, guys?" make some sort of return.
Wow, the comeback. Didn't they have wasn't it years back though? They had a second commercial grouping of it or something like that.
I don't recall.
I think it was like a throwback to a bunch of different commercials, and they may have been thrown into that.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
But it wasn't a full commercial.
Yeah, I would love to see that. But other than that, just looking forward to the game and just chilling out.
I'm here.
I'm looking forward to the halftime show, man. I'm a huge Kendrick fan. Everybody knows me. Knows I like hip hop and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to seeing how the halftime show goes.
Shout out to Kendrick winning those 5 Grammys too. I know Drake is still sitting there pouting, just watching the Grammys. Like really, like this guy just really. Come on.
No.
And to win, and when you see Kendrick going up to win, album of the year.
Yeah.
With that being in there. And hearing the entire audience of your peers and fans and things like that singing the song.
Yes.
Oh, that it would have been nice to be a fly on the wall wherever Drake's mansion is now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, y'all did a great job breaking it down, and you picked opposite sides. So I guess winner gets Mike needs more memorabilia. So my winner gets either another Kevin Owens thing or something Miami Dolphins-ish for Raj.
Or if you want to keep it wrestling thing, Ultimate Warrior has always been my favorite wrestler. So Ultimate Warrior.
There you go.
And
Appreciate
if you want to
guys.
go somebody other than Kevin Owens, I'm a big Kurt Angle fan.
Kurt Angle. Oop, gotta write my notes. Kurt Angle is next.
And I always like The Rock.
So would you say, Mike, somebody after Kurt Angle, or was that just was that?
Oh, there's a lot after Kurt Angle, but I'll never say another wrestler again.
Why?
I hate all wrestlers.
Oh, okay.
That's
why. Fine. That's why. Kurt Angle.
Refer to the multiple texts that we've had this conversation. You know why.
I didn't realize that the Ultimate Warrior didn't really wrestle for that long. Like his wrestling,
he didn't.
It wasn't.
It seems longer in our minds then.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Well, much like his character, he was very intense and very in your face for about 30 seconds, and then the rest of it just kind of fizzles out. So
and he had the
fits
worst
very much with
comeback
his
of all
character.
times.
Yeah, he what now?
That comeback was the worst comeback of all time.
Oh, the one in WCW, the whole
where he came back and would talk for like an hour and then talk for an hour. I think he lost his first match. It was terrible.
I hated that. That was so crazy.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Hopefully it's a good game on Sunday, and either the Eagles win or the Chiefs lose. Those are the 2 outcomes that I am hoping for. So for the special edition of the Herb and Rodg Podcast, thanks, Mike, for being a superstar and carrying us through another great episode. Y'all have a wonderful night, and no matter what's going on in the NFL, it's always roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.
Hands up.